So hello, my name is Chirag Sahuji. I am from SE2 batch, and today I am going to explain about the topic that is file operations in Python and a simple program to duplicate a file. So basically file operations are very important in programming because they help us store and manage data in files. So first of all, like introduction to file operations. So first, let's understand what file operations are. File operations are actions we perform on files, such as operating a file, reading a data from it, writing data into a closing it. These operations are done using built-in Python function. They are important because programs often need to save data permanently. For example, student records, login details, reports, and log filters are all stored using file operations. Without file handling, a program would lose all its data once it stops running. Then, why file operations are important? Now, let's see why file operations matter really. First is permanent data storage. Data stored in a file stays every after the program ends. Second is the data retrieval and modification. We can read and store data later, update it, and add more information. Third is that file handling power, real and applications. Many systems like login system, data analysis tools, and record system depend on file handling. Then, types of files in Python. In Python, there are mainly two types of files. First of all, text file. This store data in a human readable format. For example, .txt, .py, and .html files. Second one is like binary files. This store data in the raw bytes and are not readable as a plain text. For example, .gpg, .exe, and .mp3. Then, basic file operations. There are four basic operations in Python. First is create, which makes a new file. Second is open, which allows to program to access the file. Third is read, which retrieves the data stored in the file. Fourth one is write, each which stores data file like inside the file. After completing these operations, we should always close the file to free system resources. Then, file opening modes. While opening a file in Python, we use different modes like R, W, A, X, and etc. Like R is for read mode, which opens a file for reading. W write mode, which writes data and a file, overwrite existing content. A means append mode, which adds new data to end of the file, which deleting the old data. X means the creating mode, which creates a new file and gives an error if the file already exists. Important then important file handling functions. So Python provides some important options for file handling like open, read lines, write, and close. That concept of file duplication. Now let's understand the duplication. File duplication means creating an exact copy of a file. In the process, the program reads the content from the original file and writes the same content into a new file. This is useful for creating backups, sharing files, or keeping a copy before making changes. Python program to duplicate a file. So let's look at the simple Python program to duplicate a file. First, we open the source file in the read mode. Then we create or open the destination file in the write mode. Next, we write content in the source file. After that, we write the same content. And finally, we close both files and print it message up saying that file was duplicated successfully. Then, step-by-step explanation are like as follow. First, open the source file. Second, open the destination file. Third, read the content from the source file. Fourth, write the content in the new file. And finally, close both files properly. This way, the program creates an exact copy of the original file. In final, we come to an conclusion that to conclude file operations in Python, allow program to store, read, and manage data in files. They are really important concepts programming and are widely used in real applications. Using these operations, we can also easily duplicate files using a simple Python program. Thank you so much. There was like explanation of file operations which are done in Python. Thank you.